Good morning. Hey, Daisy Sunshine. How are you? All right. So, I am going to talk about true crime in a sense. I'm not evaluating anything specifically, more of just kind of I'm having this reaction to people who seem to have lost the ability to focus on facts, right? That facts can lead us to a conclusion. We don't have to watch the dark storm clouds roll in to know that it has just rained, correct? You can be fast asleep, not have any idea what's going on around you, and then when you wake up and you open up your curtains and you look outside and the ground is wet and there's water everywhere, you're not going to tell yourself, "Oh, look, I must have a leak. There one of my pipes out in the yard must have burst. Something must be wrong. Somebody must have come by with a water hose and sprayed my car down with water." You don't have to do those things. You open up your blinds or you open up the door, you walk outside and look around. Everything's covered with drops of water. There's a certain change in the smell of the air, and aha, it rained while I was sleeping. You don't have to hear the thunder. You don't have to see the lightning. You can just walk out and see the fact that everything is covered in water. It rained. Unless someone can bring you some kind of evidence that says, no, 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 that really wasn't rain that is all over your car. Your next door neighbor had the water hose out and sprayed your car down with water. But look, your grass was not wet. So that probably makes sense. But if the whole grass, front yard, backyard, the road in front of your house, and your cars, and the roof, if it's all wet, then one little water hose didn't do that. So looking at the circumstantial evidence is instructive. The circumstantial evidence can absolutely lead one to was committed by says are that a murder was committed by a certain person, correct? You can the facts can lead you to that supposition or conclusion. You don't have to watch as Scott Peterson puts his hands around the neck of his wife and chokes her until she's dead. And the only reason that Chris Watts is in prison today is because he was an idiot and said, "Sure, I'll take a polygraph. I don't need an attorney. I've been able to talk my way out of all my crap I've done throughout my life. I can do it this time. They're going to believe me." That's the only reason he's in jail, is because he's just not capable of thinking outside of a pre-planned idea. He said, "Okay, I'll take it." And he said, "Okay, I did it." He still didn't tell us the truth. We still don't know the truth. The things that he said about the disposal of the bodies, it wasn't real. It's not true. So we don't know exactly what the whole story was. No, we didn't witness it. I think someone witnessed it, but we didn't witness. So, but he still admitted, "I did do it," and we still have the evidence of him backing into the driveway in the morning, which was definitely outside of his normal wheelhouse. That the bodies went missing. He said that Shanann said that they were going on a play date, and yet the same camera shows her car never left and no one ever arrived to pick her and the girls up. So you don't have to actually witness a murder to know that a murder happened, right? You look at the facts surrounding it, the disappearance or the circumstances. You witness the facts surrounding that day or that location to try to ask yourself, is this rain or did my crazy neighbor turn the water hose on my car? You look for evidence that is instructive, correct? So Scott Peterson, this was a notorious case. This was one of the big cases, in my opinion, that started this whole fascination with true crime and kind of made murder an entertainment industry, right? And that was the disappearance of Lacey Peterson, his wife, and she was 9 months pregnant at the time she went missing. She went missing technically on they leave on the 24th of December in 2002, correct? There has been, in recent years, there has been a great deal of discussion for a case that is 22 years old. There's been an incredible amount of discussion about the case. And the reason is because he has been able to, first of all, number one, walk away from a death penalty. So when he was found guilty, he was given the death penalty, right? He has been able in court to present information that called into question jury selection. And the remedy for that was to change the death penalty to life in prison without parole. So that was the remedy. Now he is life in prison without parole, which means also his living conditions change. Rather than being isolated in a room alone, now he has interactions with other people and such. He is now fighting with, I think it's called the California Innocence Project, if I remember correctly. They are working very hard to get him a new trial. And so it has not been ruled that he can have a new trial, but it has been ruled that some of the evidence, the old evidence that did not make its way into the trial, that the old evidence is now going to be tested, right? So when he was found guilty, there was a girlfriend, and that is who you are seeing on the thumbnail or the screen here, and that is Amber Frey. And there was a lot of connection between Amber Frey and Nicole Kester, but there's really no connection at all, none, like at all. She didn't know he was married. Amber Frey did not know Scott Peterson was married. Nicole did. Amber Frey did not destroy evidence. Nicole did. Amber Frey didn't try to hide. Nicole did. So there's a lot. Amber Frey worked with the police. She did recordings, like she would call or she would answer phone calls from Scott Peterson and allow the cops to record her calls, trying to get him to give some indication where Lacey was or what Lacey did, what he did to Lacey. Nicole Kessinger did exactly the opposite. All of that was exactly the opposite. Exactly. So no connection. So the reason that I'm putting this up is really in relation to all of the new hullabaloo that is happening with Katie Proudfoot, Christopher Proudfoot, the Bower Sox, Bullhorn Betty being arrested this weekend based on violation of restraining order related to, I think, Katie Proudfoot. Here's the reason that I wanted to do this, because I watched a bunch of streams where people were talking about the arrest of Bullhorn Betty, and everybody is just like, poor Katie, poor Katie, poor Katie. I get it. You don't want to go after the family of a missing or potentially murdered child. It's bad form. It feels immoral. It's definitely against cultured society. It's not something that we would typically do, correct? But again, if you walk outside on the porch and you look around you and everything has got water droplets on it, do you have to see the storm clouds to know that it rained? So I wanted to use this as an analogy to what's happening with Katie Proudfoot and this group of people that are almost, maybe, I don't know how to describe it. I read a post. Let me say this. I read a post related to all this new information about Scott Peterson that they had requested. So with Scott Peterson, they had requested recently, I believe it was sometime in May, that there were 14 pieces of new or old evidence. The old evidence that was not used in the original trial, plus new evidence has been collected since 2006. And they had 14 pieces that they presented in court that they wanted to have tested. They wanted to have it retested as part of trying to get Scott Peterson a new trial, right? That's what this has all been about. Get him a new trial, get him a new trial. The judge in the case allowed one piece that could be tested. So these other 13 pieces can continue to be, every year it can be brought up by Scott Peterson ad nauseum till the man is 80 years old dead, I guess. But with the one piece that they're going to allow new testing, it was actually old evidence that was available at the time of Lacey's disappearance, Lacey and her unborn son, Connor, at the time that they went missing, and then their bodies were found. And that was a piece of duct tape. It was a long piece that was wrapped on Lacey's thigh. It was on the clothing that she was wearing, the pants that she was wearing. And a portion of that long piece of duct tape had folded back over onto itself, like sandwiched the sticky part in between the two sides, correct? Meaning that within those two pieces, the rolled over pieces that made like a sandwich, in between that, if there were any DNA that happened to be captured, then it would have been protected from the ocean water, the salt water, right? So the judge allowed that piece, and they are now currently going through the process of testing that. I suppose the hope being that it will exonerate Scott Peterson if there is DNA that belongs to someone else. Now, there was, I guess, report or discussion that there was DNA found, but at the time, the type of DNA, I mean, this is 20 years ago, that the type of DNA testing that they were able to do, that they were capable of doing, that it was much more rudimentary than what they can do now. Sorry about that. What they could do now, and that they're now going to take that piece of DNA and they're going to test it to try to pull a real profile, to try to get like a real person to see to whom does this DNA belong. Now, if it is Scott Peterson's DNA, then no harm, no foul. But if it turns out to be some other person's DNA, then he could get a new trial. All right. Now then, there are now people, I mean, as crazy as this case is, there are now people, a lot of people, that are running around on the internet. Scott Peterson is innocent. Free Scott Peterson. The poor innocent babe has lost 20 years of his life to death row. Poor Scotty. Oh, poor little Scotty. Okay. Just delusional. It's simply, it's the water hose theory, people. Okay. The reason that I have these two pictures up here, I picked them on purpose. Okay. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a cough, so my apologies. So I chose these two pictures intentionally, and the reason is both of these photographs were taken on December the 14th, 2002, at probably within a couple of hours at nearly exactly the same time. This is almost Hollywood-ish. They're both wearing red satin. Lacey's got her hands interlocked, but the mistress and the husband have their hands interlocked. The black background, right? The black pillow behind Lacey and the black suit that Scott's wearing. And what you're looking at is you're looking at two different Christmas parties. Lacey went to a Christmas party in Modesto of one of her best friends. Scott Peterson was a couple hours away at a party at one of Amber Fry's friends on exactly the same day at nearly exactly the same time. Oh, okay, Mel Mac. Thank you, Mel Mac, because I did stumble on that. I think I said California Innocence Project. That's wrong. It's the Los Angeles Innocence, which is not the California Innocence Project or the original Innocence Project with a chapter in every state. I knew that it wasn't the big one. Thank you, Mel Mac. Okay, so it's called the Los Angeles Innocence Project. Okay, thank you. So facts here. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So both of these photographs taken exactly the same day, exactly within a few hours, so I shouldn't say exactly, but approximately the same time, both celebrating Christmas, December the 14th. But Lacey is alone, 9 months pregnant. Scott Peterson is hours away with his mistress, having already told his mistress that his wife is dead. This will be the first year without her for the holidays. True story. Now, if you go to Lacey Peterson's side of the story and you go in a little bit more in depth, you will know this. This is ominous. That Lacey and Scott always threw these big Christmas parties, right? That was like her thing. She loved entertaining. They had owned a restaurant. They liked it. They liked the social atmosphere, and they created a social atmosphere. Lacey loved entertaining. So she always put on this big Christmas party. This year, specifically, real explanation to her friends, it was decided that she would not do the Christmas party. Now, you and I would say, well, look at her. The poor baby is fully pregnant. If you've ever had a baby, you know what it's like. That last month is very difficult, very difficult. So it does make sense. It's logical to assume that she just decided, it's too much work to try to throw a Christmas party and cook and then have to clean up afterwards. So definitely understandable, right? That itself is not a fact to say, well, she didn't throw the Christmas party because she and Scott were having trouble. No. But here's what does bother me. It does bother me that Scott Peterson made plans to spend Christmas, December the 14th, with Amber Fry. One would think the Christmas party that Lacey went to, her best friend, her husband, was one of Scott's best friends and was even seen in news video going in and out of the house in the immediate days after Lacey had gone missing. So he did miss his best friend's Christmas party that he should have been with his wife. You see my point? So that sort of makes it sort of drives it home, makes it a little bit deeper that there was trouble in paradise. Things were not going well in this couple. And then the fact that this man right here was able to open up his mouth and say, while this woman on the right is healthy, alive, and about to give birth to his first child, a son, he was able to open up his mouth and say, I lost my wife. This will be the first Christmas without her. You cannot open up your mouth and say someone that you love is dead. Your brain won't allow you to do that. The cognitive dissonance is so uncomfortable, you can't do it unless you're a psychopath, right? So he's able to actually say to her, my wife is gone. My wife's dead. First Christmas without her. Poor me. Amber says, oh, Scott, I'm so sorry. I know this must be so horrible for you. Come to my party. My friend's throwing a party. Come with me. It will be together and it'll make Christmas a little more bearable for you, honey. Imagine what that took for that man to say that in an affair. So on December the 14th, all of you murder apologists, all of you murder denialists out there, all of you stop for a damn minute and think to yourself. December the 14th, this man leaves this pregnant wife who has his son about to be born to drive hours away to a Christmas party with a woman that he has told her, my wife is dead. That alone, you don't have to know anything else to know that right there. This is a man who has the ability to kill a person. It is the most bizarre thing to me that people sit around and say, there's no evidence. There's no evidence that there was foul play with Sebastian. There's no evidence. Are you sure? Have you stopped and just said to yourself, okay, I just want to be logical. All I care about is just being logical. I'm not interested in virtue signaling. I'm not interested in white knighting. I just want to be logical. Just the facts, ma'am. That's all you want. Just the facts, ma'am. Here's a fact with Scott Peterson. He had a boat that no one knew about. He didn't tell a living soul. And he bought the boat a month before he killed his wife. He stored the boat in a warehouse where he then proceeded to make, I think it was like 8 of homemade concrete, quotation marks, anchors. But only one anchor, homemade, was found in the boat when they located the boat. Only one. So where are all the other ones? Probably at the bottom of the bay. So that's fact. Here's a fact. Katie Proudfoot herself said, I woke up and poof, he was gone. Poof. Into thin air. Now, because the police are rational, they're logical, they collect facts like, oh yeah, we got a report, Scott. Someone saw you pulling a boat after Lacey, you were supposedly somewhere else, and Lacey's walking the dog. Where were you going? You said you went and played golf. Last time I checked, Scott, you didn't need a boat to play golf. What happened there? It was too cold. Listen to this crap. It was too cold to golf. So I decided to take my boat and drive 4 hours away. I don't remember how many hours it was, but it was hours away from their home. Drive hours away to go fishing in the bay. Okay, wait a minute. You said it's cold on the golf course? Well, how damn cold do you think it's going to be out in a little aluminum boat in the middle of San Francisco Bay? How cold was that? How cold was that? I can be running around in my yard with a t-shirt on and then walk out the pier. And once you get out to the end of the pier, it can be damn cold because the wind and then the mist from the water is just a little more humid out there. It's ludicrous that this man said it was too cold to play golf, but he decided to go out in the bay in a boat. Ludicrous. He didn't tell anyone he had the boat until an eyewitness said, I saw him with a boat. Then he said, oh, I forgot to mention that pesky little boat. Oopsie do. Okay, so Katie says, I can't find him. I looked up. I can make fun of her accent because I have a really bad one myself. Okay, so everybody just chill. I can't find him. I got up and I woke him up and he wasn't there. What? You woke him up and he wasn't there? Yeah, I woke him up and he wasn't there. And I called his daddy. Did I call his daddy to see if he was with his daddy? No. I called the man that terrorized him. I can't find him, Chris. He's not here. Our son. I can't find our son. You know, the one you call names. The one you call mentally retarded. You know the one you take a strap to. I didn't call his dad, his biological flesh and blood father. I didn't call the guy who is going to be taking full custody of our child. I don't mean legal custody, but living with Seth full time. I didn't call him to say, oh my God, please tell me you have Sebastian. Please tell me you have Sebastian. She didn't do that. She calls a man who then makes a call to his little friends at the police or at the sheriff. I think it was the sheriff's department. So there's no recording of the phone call. And it's a three-way. So guess who is speaking for Katie? Because I was just too upset. I couldn't talk. I was so upset I just couldn't talk. So Chris has to talk for me. Yeah, you damn sure were able to get on those podcasts and giggle your ass off. You were damn sure able to get on those podcasts and tell cute jokes, making fun of your child saying green tea. You didn't have any trouble getting those words out. There's a bit of a disconnect that a lot of people are having some trouble reconciling. So hold on a minute. So while we haven't watched the rain, we didn't see the dark clouds come rolling in. There's a bit of a disconnect between, I went to wake him up and he was gone. I can't find him. Seth, the father, walks in the front door and says, well, there's all of his shoes. And Katie went, he didn't wear any shoes. I mean, most people don't put their shoes on before they poof into thin air. Christopher Proudfoot comes along. He walked away. Isn't that right, Christopher? Mr. Chris. Isn't that right? Just the facts, please. Oh, yeah. He could walk out the front door. That's the only door that he could have gotten out of, was the front door. He couldn't have gone out the back door. He needed a key. He couldn't have gone out of the doors that were being blocked by sofas and stuff. Just the front door. That's all. Oh, great. Super. We're back to Chris Watts, aren't we? Yeah. Walk right out that front door. Good job. That is great. Now, you see that house right there across the road? That looks like a camera. Why don't we go over there and see if those people can see the Proudfoot front porch? Because that's going to be damn amazing if they've got a video of anyone walking out onto the front porch and poof, he's gone. I mean, that is going to be on CNN. That video clip of a human being poofing into thin air, that is going to be all over Twitter. It's going to be on every major news broadcast known to man, every single continent, and probably 75% of countries. We are going to watch one live, living human being walk out onto a front porch, Christopher Proudfoot, and what was it? Poof, into thin air. With no shoes on, by the way. Oh, well, he was growing. You see, he growed so fast that he just couldn't wear any. And we have plans to replace all his shoes. I threw away shoes, but he was barefoot. What the? You don't have to hear the thunder or see the lightning to know that it rained while you were asleep. What is it, Katie? He didn't wear shoes because none of them fit and you hadn't gotten around to buying him new ones? Why, in a pristine home, beautiful show house, why are Sebastian's shoes at the front door? Why? And here's something else for you, Mr. Chris. Just want to make it crystal clear for you, Mr. Chris. I'm not the only one that sees the illogical bullshit in this entire story. So do the cops. They really do. And while they may not be dragging you in and breathing down your neck, you can be assured that they're making a case. They've got to be able to make a case in front of a jury. So get comfortable right now while you can, because things are going to get real ugly, I think, kind of soon. So little boys, 15-year-old young men, they don't poof into thin air, correct? And so again, if we're only looking at logic, if we're not forming conclusions, we're just looking at logic. If the story is true that Sebastian got up in the middle of the night and left the home, unknown to Katie, right? That she didn't know about it. If he got up and he left the house, he would, according to them, being the only way that he could have left, out the front door. The house across the street with the camera would have shown that, because other days they've got video of people coming and going through the front door. Okay. The camera can see the front door. It's just not strange. But even if you want to discount that, say it was too dark or whatever, the lights were on the house, even though we were told they were not. That was a lie. I don't even want to go through all the numbers of lies that have been told. I don't care to do that. But as Sebastian walks out of the house, walks down the stairs, goes out to the road or to the sidewalk, walks wherever he would walk. I mean, wherever he decides that he's going to go. Eventually, bodies show up. Right? Crimes of convenience or tragic accidents, bodies show up. Look at Caleb Harris. Caleb showed up. So if you don't have a body or even an article of clothing or an item, a personal item of the missing person, when that doesn't happen, then what is you don't have to see the storm clouds. What does that tell you if you get nothing? If there's nothing there to show, hey, this person wandered around, died in the woods. This person was abducted by a pedophile, did the dirty deed, discarded the body quickly, and then ran away. What does that tell you? It tells you that someone doesn't want him found. That tells you that someone took him out into the woods and buried him, or drove an hour south and buried your body in a shallow grave in a wide open area with no trees anywhere, the least likely place to hide a body, and then jumped in their truck and drove 4 hours north and acted suspicious and shady by going around to 5 different trash cans, throwing away trash, knowing cameras were watching him bury more fuel, saying, look at me, look at this distraction I'm creating. You guys need to focus all your attention this side of Salida, not south of Salida, where Suzanne really is buried. Right? So he's nowhere. There's nothing. There's been nothing. There's not been a poof. And worse than nothing, we also have gotten this. The one guy who gave a damn about Sebastian, the one parent who seemed to be horrified that his child was missing, was Seth. And now Seth has been turned into prime suspect by Christopher Proudfoot's friends. What does that tell you? Those people, these are the same kind of people that are saying Scott Peterson is innocent. Oh, Seth totally did this. Seth did this to his child. You think so? Really? You are that incapable of considering real facts that you can really say that Katie Proudfoot, against all odds, she is so lily white clean that she did nothing to that child, even though she was the only one in that house other than Sebastian, and she is the last person to lay eyes on him. And her story was, I woke up and he was gone. I don't know where he was. I don't know what happened to him. All of her choices and decisions after waking up and her son is gone defy logic. And it wasn't until Seth walked in the door and saw Sebastian's shoes that she decided that Sebastian walked out barefooted with a flashlight. He had a flashlight, a little one, a little flashlight. Why is that, Katie? Were you thinking, oh, look, somebody might have seen us leaving the house to meet a particular type of van or crossover SUV? We better make it seem like that was Sebastian. We could say that was Sebastian with a flashlight. We are geniuses. This is so great. Because the shape that child's room was in, the entire house was crystal clear clean. It was perfect for Mr. Chris. Because you know how perfect Mr. Chris is, right? It was perfect. But not Sebastian's room. Sebastian's room was a disaster area. Okay, Katie, really? The one thing that you believe is missing is a little tiny little collector flashlight. It's not even a real full-blown flashlight. Really? You really think that you could figure that out in just a few minutes? Really? Or what do you call that? Theory of mind, right? That you knew that you were walking through the dark with the little tiny flashlight. You knew what you did. You knew that it might be on cameras. And you got to make Sebastian, the victim, the one holding the flashlight, right? It's incredible. And the thing that prompted me to make this video is I was listening to this woman last night on a channel, and she was upset. They were talking about the Bullhorn Betty arrest, right? Now look, Bullhorn Betty, it was bound to happen. Okay, let me just say it this way. It was bound to happen. How long have we all been watching? How long have we been watching Bullhorn Betty with our jaw on the ground, asking ourselves, what is wrong with her? Like, what is she doing? what is Bullhorn doing? Like, why does she think she can get away with things like this? Why does she think she can disrupt entire neighborhoods? What? And she knew she was doing it because she's walking around out there when Simon, what was the little boy's name? Simon. Well, anyway, remember the shoot. Bobby Joe was the grandparent. I can't remember the name. Anyway, they were in front of this missing child's house, creating this terrible spectacle. People had to leave their homes. They had recordings of babies crying all night long. Quentin Simon, thank you, Ceresia Norton, thank you. Quentin Simon's house. They're playing recordings of screaming, crying babies in a neighborhood. In a neighborhood. Children that lived in the neighborhood were terrified. Families had to leave their homes, y'all. I mean, this woman, and she is on camera walking down the road, and she's got her bullhorn bullshit going on. And she said, "Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty shit show." That is an exact quote. Like loud, she screamed it out into the middle of all these people, and she's got her bullhorn, and she's proud, like she's strutting around like the cock of the walk. It's crazy. So how long have we been watching Bullhorn? How long have we been watching Bullhorn? And all of us, we rational, logical people that enjoy facts, we're watching this and we're saying, this woman is unhinged. This is not okay. There is something wrong. And she is victimizing so many people. So many people. She's oblivious to all the people that are being affected by her, criminal stalking. She's a public nuisance. We can just go on and on. But anyway, I'm watching this video last night, this panel. And this woman is talking about all of the horrible things that Bullhorn has said about Sebastian or about Katie or about Chris Proudfoot. Horrible things I will not repeat. Horrible, okay? Just unhinged insanity, right? We've all heard it. We've all listened. We've all said to ourselves, it's a matter of time. The arrest is coming. Like we know 3 years ago, we were saying the woman was going to get arrested. We thought she was going to get arrested because of her behavior in Idaho. We have all seen it. It's not a surprise that she got arrested. It's not a surprise that the Proudfoots and the Bowersox got restraining orders against this woman. And I can tell you this too. I think they knew. I think they had no doubt in their mind that she would not be able to resist a restraining order. Can I say the words oppositional defiant disorder? Hey, Betty, that grass over there is green. No, hell no, it ain't. That grass is purple. That grass is purple, and I have freedom of speech to say it if I wanna. It's purple grass. Okay, I know you can say it if you want to, Betty, but the grass is green. No, hell no. What's wrong with you? Were you a Democrat? Okay. Look, I went a little too far. I'm sorry. But you get my point, right? You can say, hey, look right there. That's a dog. She'll say, no, it's a cat. You can say, oh, look at the beautiful Christmas lights. That ain't Christmas lights. Them's termites on that house. Whatever you say, Betty is going to disagree. If she doesn't like you, if she's got an eye on you, if she's got a bead on you, if she's coming for you, you're in deep shit, buddy. Anything that you do or say, she is going to be triggered by. She can't resist it. It's like a compulsion to act or react, correct? And so I think that Katie Proudfoot and Christopher Proudfoot and whatever, I don't think they are afraid of her. I don't think that they thought, oh, she's a danger. We better get a restraining order so that we're safe. I don't think that's what happened at all. You want to know what I think? I think they got those restraining orders knowing full well that Betty would violate them. And you said, but why? Why would they know that she would violate them? Well, first of all, the best predictor of future behavior is past performance, right? So she hadn't typically cared about the rules, number one. But number two, what if Betty has a little bug in her ear? And that little bug is saying, oh, they can't do anything to you. That restraining order, that privacy or protection order, that doesn't have any teeth, Betty. You can just come on over and do what you want to do, even though you've been talking about them on your channel. Just come on. Me and Seth are going to protect you. Me and Seth are going to make sure that you are all right, Betty. They have no right to try to silence you. Those old Bowers Soxes and Proud Feet, they don't have any right to silence Bullhorn Betty. And I am here for the fight, baby. I'm here for you, Betty. That's what I do. I am a white knight for great Americans like you, Bullhorn Betty. I will be there for you. You have a right to speak your mind. No piece of paper or some backwoods judge is going to tell you to be quiet. Because my name is Tony Mathis, and I'm here for you, gal. And he worked her up. He gave her a lot more confidence than the situation even allowed for. But here's my big question, and this is what I'm going to end on. How did Mr. Chris and Katie know that someone would be building Betty up? How did they know that somebody would be goading Betty and pushing Betty and reminding Betty that she's got her right to free speech, damn it? How did they know that? Because at this point now today, guess who can no longer, under any circumstances, have a way to talk about this case? She's got a $20,000 bond. She's got more court hearings scheduled on her calendar than I've ever had. I'm talking about professionally. I've never been to court because I did something bad. but I'm talking about for me to go to court and like testify or whatever. She's deep. She's in trouble. This judge, when he said $20,000, he threw the book at her. How did they know that she would show back up in Tennessee? If she just stayed home, nothing would ever happen. I've said it before. I've said it again. The minute Tony Mathis showed up on the scene, Seth became bad guy number one. Tony Mathis has deconstructed, in my opinion, every support structure, every positive influence around Seth that there has been, has destroyed it all. And the last person that was going hard and speaking out, focused on Sebastian, speaking out against Katie Proudfoot and Christopher Proudfoot, was Bullhorn Betty. And now, with her arrest, it's over. And Tony Mathis did it. He did every step of the way. So, Seth, keep making the decisions you're making, buddy. That's all I'm going to say. All right. I'm done. I hope you guys have a marvelous Monday. All right. And I will return to speak again when I have the time. Talk to you later. Bye.